Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
It's time once again for everybody to come aboard that Green Screens Media train, recording live from somewhere. This is One and Done, your fast break for all things college basketball. On tonight's show, we're going to open up our 4-part recruiting class series, starting off out on the West Coast, which for the purposes of this show is definitely the best coast. We gave you all the portal talk you could handle, and now we're going to shift gears and give you this 4-part series focusing on recruiting. We're also going to break down USC and UCLA's incoming classes, 5 more freshmen out west to watch, and some other news and notes from around the country as well. My name is Jay Heinrich, the conductor of the aforementioned Green Screens Media train. You can follow me on Twitter at Dr. William Cannon. However, the man that I'm here to see, the man that you're here to see, the man that we're all here to see, El Capitan himself, the captain of the Green Screens Media ship. You can follow him on Twitter at MCHolland34. He is the OG Money Mike Holland. What it do, baby?
What it do? We've wrapped up our portal series, and of course, portal's still popping off, so we'll get to that a little bit later. But it's almost June, man, which is kind of crazy. NBA is winding down here. Going to get the finals started here. I got to ask you first, though, Jay. Celtics going to complete this comeback?
Absolutely not.
All right, and there you go.
Absolutely not. No, but honestly, though, like, it wouldn't surprise me. It's just they look so tremendously outcoached to start this series, right? But they're just too talented, right? They just look like they didn't want to be there. And it took them going down 0-3 to be like, oh, maybe we should start playing a little bit, you know? But no, man, that's the NBA for you. While Denver just sits and waits and twiddles their thumbs with a guy who probably should be a 3-time MVP and Jokic sitting at home. Even though he said it was Embiid deserved it, he took the high road. Good for him.
Nice guy.
Yeah, what a nice dude. And I think he'll take that championship ring over an MVP trophy any day. But yeah, Mike, you updated that 300 board over at drroto.com today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's up. Go check it out. It's free, full free. So you always like free. We put in a lot of work on that thing. We're just making some minor tweaks and adjustments as news trickles out. Probably will settle down by the time mid-June, late June hits, and then we're not that far away from the season, really, when you count it down as we go through the summer here. But I'm excited, man. We're gonna talk about this incoming freshman class, and we know how important the old diaper dandies are. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about USC and UCLA and just some other kids out west that we're going to be able to see.
It's the diaper dandies, baby. You know it's coming. Absolutely. It's awesome. Okay, that's enough. A couple of classes to break down. We've been breaking down portal classes throughout the last couple of months, really, as they've been coming through. And now it's time to shift gears a little bit. Yeah, we'll still talk portal. There's some big names that have hopped in recently even that, made us have to take a step backwards and really rethink some of the things that we've been thinking about, or the makeup of what these teams are going to look like, which is why it's so ridiculous to put down way too early top 25s the day after the season, like 1,700 people, almost 1,800 people in the portal. But that's another story for another day. Let's get out to the West Coast now and break down a little USC and UCLA recruiting. Mike, let's start with the USC Trojans, the number 8 composite rank class on 24/7. I mean, it doesn't hurt to get the number 1 overall player in the nation, and it doesn't hurt to get LeBron James's kid either. So tell us a little bit about this incoming class for the Trojans and what it means for their roster.
Yeah, well, you hit it on the head. Isaiah Collier and Bronny James definitely headlining this 3-man class, but we can't forget about Arrington Page. He's a 4-star, a top 50 national recruit. So, man, you get 3 players in the top 50, including the number 1 overall player. Isaiah Collier probably going to be a little overshadowed by Bronny James, right? You got to like the way Bronny has kind of handled his business. So I expect both of these guys to shine. And I'm excited about this USC team. I mean, you look at Collier, obviously when you're the number one ranked player, you're a 5-star. I mean, he's a true point guard. He's a great passer, really explosive, can blow by, can shoot threes. He's a high upside defender with his size too. He's 6'3", 190. So really like his game, obviously. Scouts, NBA scouts, so we read over the past year, I've really liked how he's blossomed his game. And I'm looking forward to seeing him, handle the rock next year. Bronny is a little bit different, right? He's more of a combination guard, about the same size, man, 6'3", 190. I would say that Bronny's not great at one thing, but he's more of a well-rounded type player. I mean, he's a willing defender. He plays tough defense. He's a willing passer. Go figure. Wonder if he's learned that from his old pops. But unlike Pops, who was struggling from three, shooting like sub 30% in the Denver shit, I think for the playoffs for the Lakers, Bronny, man, he has the ability to knock down the 3-point shot, and that's the way the game's gone. So those two right there making a deadly incoming combination there in the backcourt. And then Ayrton Page, I mean, 6'9", 220. You need these guys. USC's kind of been churning these guys out left and right, and we talk about the Mobleys, right? They also have Josh Morgan, who's a solid defensive player. I mean, what you're going to get from this kid, you're going to get around the basket type production. He's a physical athlete. I mean, he's still raw and he's super young. These kids you find on the West Coast, because of you see some age differences here than guys playing, in the central part of the country and eastern part of the country, partly because schools start a little bit earlier. So there's some questions about, his motor and if he's engaged all the time. But I mean, when you're the best, well, in his case, second best player, as he was a teammate of Isaiah Collier, but when you're one of the best athletes on the floor in the high school level, you're able to do a lot of interesting things, underneath the basket, and he's got a growing outside game too. So we'll have to see how that kind of develops over time. But, really expecting, Bronny and Isaiah Collier to play significant minutes, and we'll see. You'll see Page fits in with Morgan and Wuchukwu. So, might be more of a 2-3 year project with him, but definitely like this class. Jay, what are your thoughts on this USC class?
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to bring in this type of talent and have as much talent coming back as USC does. Boogie Ellis, 17.5 points a game last year. Kobe Johnson can play multiple positions. He averaged 9 points a game last year. Vince Iwukuchwu, 5 points a game. Big time players and contributors for this USC team, and you mentioned Josh Morgan as well. I mean, and that doesn't even account for DJ Rodman, coming in from Washington State. Yeah, Rodman. Yeah, you know the name exactly. Yes,
yeah,
that Rodman.
Yes, that Rodman.
That Rodman. You know the name. This is a very talented team. Will probably be the favorites in the Pac-12 if you ask me. Andy Enfield has done a really, really nice job out there as their coach to bring in this talent.
Let me ask you this, Jay. Let me ask you a question, man.
Yep.
Do you think Bronny? What do you think his expectations are? What do you think? And what do you think he's going to do this year? He should probably play 25 to 30 minutes, I would assume. So, do you think he meets expectations and heads off to the league, or do you think he takes his time? He's a well-rounded player.
I don't know that he's necessarily ready. I mean, if you're talking about wanting to play with your dad, LeBron's flirted with the retirement gimmick, and whether that's just a negotiation tactic to get Kyrie out to LA or whatever it might be, because we all know he wants to play with his son. I don't know that Bronny's game after 1 year will be ready for the pros. That doesn't mean that he won't test the waters, and somebody would take him. The real thing for me with this class here is if I'm Isaiah Collier and I'm the number one overall recruit in the nation, and I'm going to be overshadowed on my own team by a player, and that just is going to let me cook and do my thing. That's best case scenario.
Absolutely.
I mean, and I think that's what we're going to see. Bronny James's game is fine. Like you said, he plays good D, the willing passer. Yeah, I definitely picked that up from Pops. Can shoot the 3 ball, which is the way that the college game is going. Watching James's tape, I don't know that he has that NBA ready game yet, to be a one and done player. It'll be interesting to see because he is going to get 25, 28 minutes a game. So we're going to see if it will develop as the season goes on. I would be more worried if I was a USC fan about Collier leaving after one season.
Yeah, I also, before we move over to UCLA, it's interesting that you mentioned Collier kind of in a best case scenario, right? Like, shouldn't feel like there's any pressure for him to perform with Bronny taking the headlines there. But you also can't forget Boogie Ellis is a big time player. So Bronny coming in, I mean, if he's a starter in the backcourt, like he's really the third best player. Collier and Boogie Ellis should get all the attention offensively. So, it feels like with Bronny's game, he could surprise. Yeah, this is going to be a very good backcourt, and I mean, this is going to be a solid team out west for sure.
Well, and that's why that's best case scenario for Bronny too, right? When you have a guy like Boogie Ellis, you got a guy like Collier there. If USC, if Enfield runs out 3 guards, and those teams have to give Boogie Ellis attention. He's earned that respect. They're going to have to give Collier attention, and yeah. Bronny James might be the guy on some nights that we see get 12 threes off because teams are having to pay so much attention to Boogie Ellis and Collier and Isaiah Collier. So, again, I don't know if the overall game is there for James to be that one and done guy. Him being a 5-star recruit, it's an interesting conundrum, because even though he does have a game and you can see it on film, it pops, right? We've watched this guy since he was 14, 13 years old, right? We've seen him develop his game and come up. Oh, Bronny James first dunk in a competitive game. And he was like 14, right? And you're like, oh, cool. Yeah, right, whatever. And it's okay. But the thing is like, he is that talented. Let's not sell the man short. Like, he's a super talented player and has spent his whole life in a gym. So you love that. And USC – oh my gosh! Like, again, more West Coast basketball for me to stay up and watch that I probably wouldn't have watched before, right? Like,
yeah, right. All of a sudden, the Pac-12 is coming must-see TV this year.
Yeah, some late night entertainment, baby. Loving it. That's the USC Trojans in a nutshell with this class. Let us know what you think about the Trojans. Let us know if you think Bronny James is going to be the difference maker in this. Am I selling him a little short, even though I think Collier is obviously the better player? Boogie Ellis is a proven player in that backcourt. Do you think Bronny James is going to really step up and be a leader on this team? Not just off the court, but on the court as well. Let us know what you think in the comments. Smash those like and subscribe buttons as well. Tell the hoopheads in your life about One and Done, about Green Screens Media, and do your part in the Green Screens Media universe. Let's move on now to UCLA. Those Bruins with the number 13 ranked class, composite ranked in the 24/7 rankings. What's that? Composite?
Yes,
love it. Love it. Big class here. We're used to seeing 1 or 2 person classes, and USC had 3, obviously, all up in that top 50 in the country. UCLA in a little bit different of a rebuilding technique here. Mm-hmm. Five guys coming in here. Mike, tell us about this UCLA class.
Yeah, this is interesting. So Coach Cronin has gone the way of international as well as the high school ranks to bring in 5 guys. And we know the talent that UCLA is not going to have next year, potentially not going to have next year. Still waiting on some decisions. But it starts with Sebastian Mack. He's a shooting guard. It's a 4-star, the number 51 overall player on 24/7. He's 6'4", 180 pounds. The guy's an explosive athlete. I mean, typically when you're in the top 50 to 75, you're going to hear explosive athlete, really in the top 100. So no surprise there. But he's an elite scorer. And then when you watch Saban, a very tough competitor. I would assume he's going to slot right in at the 2-guard position and get heavy minutes. Expect him to get up a lot of shots. Just the way this roster is constructed. You have the Williams brothers. They're no relationship, actually. But Devin Williams, he's a power forward, 4-star. He's 6'10", 205. He's rated as a 71st player on 24/7 composite. I mean, he's a shot blocker at that size. He's more of a modern big man, and he's a winner. And that's what you love to see, right? When you're coming in, you love these guys that come from programs that win. Brandon Williams, he's a 4-star. He's 6'7", 205, and he's the top prospect in New York. He's really young. We talked about the West Coast. I mean, this kid just turned 17 not too long ago. He can handle a rock at his size. These Williams kids, man, they're probably going to be significant pieces of this roster next year. We'll see which one can really, grasp a role. And then you get the two guys from overseas, which, it seems like Coach Cronin over the last year or so has kind of focused on, getting these guys overseas. He saw Conco last year, who is now in the transfer portal and going to Wake Forest. And then you have Ilan Fiblioun, if I say that right, from France. He's a 4-star. He's a shooting guard, 6'6", 180. He's ranked on 24/7 as the 119th best prospect coming to school. And he's from France, just committed last month. He's more of a wing type player. He's still improving his shot, but he's got some highlight dunks if you check him out on YouTube. So looking forward to seeing what he can do. And then Jan Vide, he's a combo guard. He's 6'5", 180 pounds. I mean, he's one of the top international prospects in Slovenia. He was the MVP of the Adidas Next Generation EuroLeague tournament. A lot of people are saying that he was, right behind Wembanyama. He was one of the more impressive prospects. So this one's kind of a big get that not a lot of people are talking about. I mean, he could start at shooting guard as well, or really just anywhere in the backcourt. He can play some point. So looking for Vide to make a lot of noise as well. And this is just a 5-man class, Jay. Like, you have to obviously think with UCLA right now only getting Lazar Stefanovic from Utah to come over, who is a really nice shooter and someone that projects to play at the small forward position. I mean, there's a lot of talent going out the door, man, and we saw some of that when we were out there in the West Regional. So what are your thoughts, my guy?
Yeah, you hit on it, man. Just how little they've done in the portal. You got to take this many freshmen in your recruiting class, right? If you're not going to – it's just a different way that we're seeing a coach handle his roster construction. A lot of coaches, especially ones that we've interviewed, have talked about finding that veteran leadership in the portal, guys that have done it before, to bolster their rosters to make a run. It's kind of one of the reasons why I don't know that Brandon Williams is going to be that instant contributor this year. I don't know that UCLA is in a position to make a deep run in the Pac-12. I don't know. He's going to get his minutes, but like you said, he's so young. I think that they're going to look at, really not a total rebuild here, but when you lose Tiger Campbell, you lose Jaime Jaquez Jr., you don't know what Jalen Clark and Adam Bona are going to do. You mentioned that earlier, waiting on some decisions, right? If they both go to the draft,
oh, man.
What are you left? You're left with Dylan Andrews.
Yeah.
Right? And
he barely saw the court.
That's not a knock at Dylan Andrews, but he averaged 3 points a game last year. If Clark and Bona go to the draft, that's your leading returning scorer there. Mack's going to be a huge factor immediately. He's going to play big minutes.
You got to think some of these guys, man. Like,
other than that, Devin Williams has the body for it already. 6'10", 205. He's going to grow into that. They're going to put some muscle on him. I don't know. Again, Brandon Williams. He's built. He is built for the college. 6'7", 205. Like, he doesn't look like a scrawny 17-year-old, but he's 17. Like, it matters in the college game. Playing against 23 and 24-year-olds at times, the thing that he has going for him, though, at that size, obviously, is his handles. But spin the wheel with the rest of these guys after Mack, and some of them are going to have to. They're going to be forced into big roles. Definitely, I expect Sebastian Mack to play a big part of this UCLA team. If you had to pick, Mike, and before I come back to you, I just want to say Jan Vide, early contender for incoming freshman all-name team. Jan Vide, I love it, and I think that his game is going to surprise. If you had to pick one of these other four, Mike, to make an instant impact, who are you going to go with?
Man, if Bona's gone, I would think Devin Williams is going to have to be an instant impact. But Jan Vide, man, reading about him, seeing his highlights, man, I feel like he's going to surprise. So, you don't win the MVP of that tournament without being able to play some ball, man. So, especially since he can handle the rock and he's a good shooter. There's a reason why he's coming to UCLA.
Yeah, combo guard can do multiple things. That gets you minutes. That gets you on the floor, being able to do multiple things. So, Vide's somebody to watch too. Definitely. Yeah, Clark and Bona, man, those are big decisions coming up. I don't know that either one of them will stay in the draft, but you just don't know. You don't know what they're hearing. You don't know what they're getting from their agency, from their people around them, whatever it might be. You don't know what they're hearing. So we'll see. That's going to play a big part in this UCLA team moving forward. All right, there are a couple classes there that we have broken down and talked about how those freshmen are going to play an impact on their respective teams, I should say. Let us know what you think about UCLA. Do you think Bona's going to the draft? Do you think Jalen Clark is going? And who do you think is going to fill those shoes? Is Dylan Andrews going to be that guy? Who knows? Could be. Just might have needed the minutes, might have needed the floor. We'll see how it goes. Let us know what you think in the comments. Make sure you smash those like and subscribe button as well. From the top rope, like Savage. Oh, yeah, I got to do it every show now. Yeah, brother. Yeah, do it. Mike, definitely have some more impact freshmen out west. Looks like we're going to give 5 to the masses tonight. So give me 5 more here, freshmen out west, that we should be paying attention to.
Yeah, we'll go to the Pac-12 again, Arizona State, as we will with 4 of these guys. But Braelon Green, 4-star shooting guard, is going to Arizona State. We're saying it a lot, right? He's more of a combo guard, which is nice. You want that versatility. He's very tough to cover. A real nice offensive game. Has a little pull-up jumper to him. He should fit Hurley's style of play pretty well. So I'm looking for Green to get in there and make an impact for the Sun Devils. Dusty Stromer, he's a small forward wing player from going to Gonzaga. He's a 4-star. He's 6'6", 180 pounds. I think he's a little underrated on the national level. He's got deep range, a solid feel for the game. He can post up, which at that size, you don't really see that often in the college game. But that's just another thing that he could add to Gonzaga here. And, man, this Gonzaga team has reloaded not only in the transfer portal, as we say that they were a winner in that portal, but also reloading by getting some talented freshmen. So, of course, Mark Few knows how to get it done. He's been doing it for 25 years. But I just think Stromer's just better than advertised. A name that a lot of people are already familiar with is Andrej Stojakovic, the wing 5-star, going to Stanford. Texas was in the running there. A lot of big names are in the running there. He's 6'6", 185. Guess what? He is a proven shot maker. Yes, he is the son of the former Kings great Peja Stojakovic. He's not explosive like Pops, but he knows how to play like Pops, and he's effective defensively at that size. And, man, we just know that he can fill it up. Jackson Shelstad, point guard. Jay, I think you're really high on him. He's a 5-star. He's 6 foot, 170 pounds. He blew up the last few months. He really shut out the Nike Hoop Summit. He's got really good vision. He's got a blow-by game. So I look for him to be a big piece of the Ducks. And then Cody Williams, he's a consensus top 10 guy, but he's kind of all over the place. I believe On3 has him as the number 1 player in this class. He's the highest ranked player to sign with Colorado in this new age of recruiting rankings. He's got guard skills. He grew 6 inches over the last, I believe it was year or so. And now you're 6'7" and 180 pounds with, point guard, skills. That's a really nice get. And you can see why people are, really wanting to see what he can do at the next level. But he's also a really good defender. He's switchable at that size. You can guard a bunch of different positions, Jay. So, you look at it and there, man, we got, we counted down 3 more 5-stars headed out west to the Pac-12. Braelon Green's a nice, solid, underrated player, and then Dusty Stromer headed out to the West Coast Conference for a Gonzaga team. So, what are your thoughts on these 5 guys and their impact? Is there one that sticks out to you?
Man, you hit it on the head. There is some major talent going out west right now, man. For all of the trash that I've personally talked about Pac-12, not as much as I've talked about the Big Ten, but the Pac-12 hasn't exactly been must-see television, not worth staying up a ton to watch. And with the amount of talent heading out west, and it's going to make for some great basketball and sort of revive that West Coast basketball audience, I guess, if you will. Yeah, you're right. I am very, very high on Jackson Shelstad. Number 5 point guard rated nationally number one player in Oregon, so staying home there. He's been committed to Oregon since November of 2021. Here's the deal. You want to talk about winners. You talked about earlier about guys being winners, right? He led his Westland Oregon team to a championship at the Les Schwab Invitational in December with wins over USC commit Bronny James and that Sierra Canyon team. In the championship game, they beat Duncanville. Oh, yeah, who was led by former Texas commit Ron Holland.
No.
Yes, it's true. Yes. Oh, yeah. And Shelstad was the MVP of the whole tournament out there. He's a winner. His stock has taken off, out of control. The thing that I like him, though, man, all anybody ever says about him, he's humble. He's sort of like, he just has this air about him that he's just like, hey, yeah, I expect to win. I expect to play well. I expect my teammates to play well. He's just under control, but he's an absolute baller, Mike.
Yeah.
He's an instant plug and play for the Ducks for me, a Pac-12 Freshman of the Year contender, and I honestly think he's going to win that award at the end of next season.
You're describing that guy. You know who he sounds a lot like? Sounds like a kid that went to Schulenburg High School all those years ago. The old Jay Heinrich game, man. Expects to win? Like,
no, that's right, baby. No, that's right. I don't know about the under control part, though.
Yeah, that's still debatable, right?
Yeah.
I'm excited to see this kid play. I'm excited to see what Cody Williams is going to do, reviving, that Colorado squad there. And what are your thoughts on Stojakovic, man? We talked about Bronny James, and obviously he's not going to have that type of hype, but
no.
These Suns that we're starting to see when we were watching, back in the 90s. I mean, they're starting to get to school here. Do you think his the pressure will be there for him? Obviously, there's probably not expectations for him to be one and done, but he's got to have some. He's going to Stanford, though, so maybe these expectations won't necessarily be there.
These guys that have been around the game their entire lives seem to have it a little bit more under control than some of the ones that haven't been. I'm not worried about Stojakovic, excuse me, and I'll pay attention to anybody with that last name that's a shooter. If he is, 3/4 of the shooter that his dad was, they're going to be just fine out in Stanford with him for sure. And, I want him to bulk up a little bit. He's young, right?
Yeah.
Like I want him to put on 15 pounds. I don't need him to put on 30 or 35. Get up to that 200 range, take a little bit of that wear and tear, and he'll be fine, man. But, yeah, Stojakovic will be fun to watch. But, man,
Jay, you got to be excited, man. You're going to be staying up late. Stojakovic, you're getting Bronny with that backcourt. You're getting you didn't even talk about Cal because they just, the transfer portal is all they needed.
Hold on, wait. Let me, Cal, get my Maxence dancing.
That's got to be like 5 shows in a row at this point.
I'm going to do it. We're going to talk about
streak right here.
Yeah, exactly, undefeated until like Brock Lesnar comes around. But we will. I'm gonna just find a way to fit in the dance no matter what. But yeah, man, out west, this is gonna be fun. And Shelstad, man, I can't really state how excited I am to watch him out there play for the Ducks and what I think he's gonna mean to that program for sure. So there's a few more out west that we feel like you should be paying attention to for show. Beautiful graphics there, by the way, by the producer. Jeez, out. I mean, just get it done.
Check again.
Getting it done. Yeah.
This is like a weekly thing.
What's half a zero? What is that? How do you put that in math? Hey,
I was told there's no math.
I was told there would be no math. Great graphics there by the production crew, and as you know, lately it's just been me and Mike here on your screen. But our guy, Eric, the artist formerly known as Blue, hasn't been on the show lately. He's been a little under the weather, but like we always like to say, he's never, ever too far away. So make sure you hit up our guy at FantasyNav on Twitter. Do your part and show him some love.
How much you want to see him. Let us know in the comments how much you miss Eric, the Baron of bread. We got to know,
That's right.
Man. So I know I miss that face. I get tired of seeing your face.
Yeah, I don't blame you. before we move on now to some other news and notes, I just want to remind you, Mike. Yeah, I did lead my district in assists my senior year, but I also it wasn't tracked. But if I had to bet, I would also bet that I led the district in turnovers. So it's okay. Hey,
so humble.
It's a balance here. It's just me being me. Okay, I'm just trying to let the people know. Full disclosure, I also shot better from 3 points than I did from the free throw line my junior year. It's okay.
You're that guy?
It's
Oh,
okay.
gosh.
I was that dude. I was that guy. Yeah, I definitely was that guy. We're actually going to talk about a player in a little while that sort of has some splits that I wish were a little bit better. But let's move on now. Past those 5 recruits out west that we felt like you should pay attention to. Let's get to some news and notes out west, Mike. Maybe some guys coming back to school, whether it's removing their names from the portal, taking their name out of the draft. Frankie Collins coming back for Arizona State. Big boost for those Sun Devils. And Isaiah Stevens coming back for Colorado State. Tell us a little bit about those two guys and what they mean to their respective teams.
Yeah, we talked about the transfer class for Arizona State the other day, and we talked about how much of their backcourt they lost. Nunez going to Ole Miss, DJ Horn headed over to North Carolina State. And, man, we didn't know what was really going to happen with Frankie Collins, but he makes the decision to come back. And that's a major boost, especially as someone that ran the point for you. Hurley here, it's going to be his second year in the system, so that in itself, right, should kind of speed up the process with getting this offense going. And then for Isaiah Stevens, man, if you don't watch, the Mountain West, you've missed this guy the past, couple of years. Just put on a show. He's obviously a very crucial piece for the Rams. I mean, he's their best player. He's their leader. Jay, you got to feel like, it keeps them relevant. What are your thoughts on Collins and Stevens? And these are 2 big-time players.
Yeah, quickly on Stevens, Colorado State needed him back, or that would have been a long season in what's become a really solid conference. Yeah. Don't sleep on the Mountain West for sure. But with Collins, he's going to be Arizona State's only returning starter. He started 33 games for them at the point last season, 10 points, 4.5 boards, 4.5 dimes, a little bit of do it all. And now he's going to have to carry even more of that load for the Sun Devils. As his game continues to develop, this is the percentages I was talking about. You hope that those percentages tick up a little bit, right? 40% from the field, 33% from 3, which is okay. 33% is right there at that line where you don't want to be any worse than that, but you'd like it to be in that 36, 37, 38% range. And he only shot 62% from the free throw line last year. So, again, if he's going to be the guy, which for Arizona State he may have to be, you'd like to see those percentages really step up a little bit. And Coach Bobby Hurley, I'm sure, will be working with him on everything. Who was, if you didn't know, could shoot a little bit in his day. A lot of it.
Those are splits that you would want.
yeah, those Bobby Hurley splits that, the 50.
And he beat the dream team.
He did. Oh, that's legendary right there. Legendary. Bobby Hurley, what a guy. Yeah, that was one of those guys. That was back when nobody likes Duke now except Duke fans anyway, but that was back in the day when everybody really, that was when it all started.
Yeah.
Right. He was one of those dudes. But I'm expecting big stuff from Collins this year as he comes back for what I believe will be his junior season to really develop that game a little bit. Let's move on now, Mike, to somebody that we were really surprised to hear jumping into the portal, especially this late, who immediately jumps into that top 20. And that's former Richmond Spider, Tyler Burton.
Yeah, Burton, I believe he's still testing the NBA draft waters and put his name into the portal. He's a grad transfer, so he can do that. Played 4 years. Had a career year last year, 19-7. He's 6'7". The guy is built like an NBA player. He's okay from 3, but I think the thing is, too, that gets kind of lost is he had such a great year last year, but it was on a team that wasn't great. And the year before that, he was more of a piece on a team that I believe was the oldest team in college basketball that beat Iowa in the first round after Iowa won the Big Ten tournament, and everyone said Iowa's going to make the Final Four. and then you play this Richmond team with Gilliard, with Tyler Burton, and he was like one of the younger guys on that team in his third season. So obviously gets the stats ticked up to 19-7 last year. And when his name jumped in, I was like, oh man, like this is a top 20 type impact player, like where he's going to go. There's probably a laundry list. I haven't looked at it, Jay. I'm sure everyone's probably after him. I can't imagine teams are passing up a scholarship. Probably going to be pursued pretty heavily, man. What are your thoughts on his game and just this late entrant here?
Yeah. Like you said, he wasn't surrounded by much talent at all last season, and he can get his own bucket. Like there's no doubt about that. I think he will end up staying in the college game. I think NBA teams are going to tell him that they want to see him do it at a higher level and see him do it in a more team-oriented setting. I think they're going to want his game to develop a little bit more than just that scoring. But he can get his own shot off like that. There's no doubt about that. And he shoots when he gets to the rim. He's going to make it. Like he's a finisher. The thing that I like about his game that he lives at the free throw line. He shot 205 free throws last year, Mike. Like that's how you average 19 points a game in college. You get to the line 205 times. For me, I think there's a few teams that stand out to me in terms of where he might land, and if and when he returns to college. UConn has a spot for him in that lineup now. Obviously coming off that championship, the rich would be getting richer. But I think UConn would be a good fit for him. Iowa, friendly system for his type of game. He's going to be able to get up and down and just do whatever he wants, really. I think that would be a really good fit for him. And down the street.
Stop.
Down the street, Mike. Little burnt orange for Tyler Burton, maybe.
We'll see.
Maybe not. But the fit would be there. However, Texas has been linked to another dynamic scorer in Caleb Love. Let's talk a little bit about him, Mike. What do you think about Caleb Love's situation and where he stands?
Yeah, so we just talked about it last show, and we thought it was going to be Indiana and Missouri, right? We talked about potentially being solid fits, and it's been reported and all over Twitter that those two teams aren't even in the top three. So I don't know if they're passing or what the situation is, but here come three more, major programs after this kid. Arizona, who I think probably fit really well in that Tommy Lloyd system. Texas, we laughed and joked, but now it seems like this thing is getting a little bit closer. And then, we see it here on the graphic right in the middle of Gonzaga, who seems to be in third place right now. So, man, this has been a wild recruitment. We talked about the whole thing with Michigan. His leaving North Carolina was a story in itself. I mean, I don't know. We joked and laughed about it. We talked about us debating on where we like him. He's number 3 on our big board. I still think you probably have him in your top 10, but closer to 10. Jay, give me your thoughts, man. Like he's obviously what'd you say, a usage-oriented guard. So
yeah.
What are your thoughts,
Definitely.
man?
Here's the deal. The thing that stands out to me about two teams that were linked so closely to him and then all of a sudden not being linked as as closely, it sort of makes me think that they might have had a visit or a phone call, and maybe they didn't like as much of what they were hearing out of him. That's one way to look at this. The other way to look at this is he didn't like what he heard from them and is looking for a place where he can get up and run, which, it could very well be Texas, and Texas still being that lone ranger from that initial 3 that we sort of thought were in the running here. Look, I haven't hidden the fact that I haven't been the biggest supporter of Caleb Love, and at times have even cringed at the thought of him coming to Texas because I don't know that I really like his game a ton, or at least what it turned into last season. Okay.
Yeah.
But the Kim Kardashian, Jennifer Lopez, Nicki Minaj sized but if you would have told me a year ago that the backcourt at Texas for the 23-24 season would be Caleb Love, Max Asmus, and Tyrese Hunter, I would have A, told you that you were lying to me, but B, I would have been ecstatic, okay? We're 1 year removed from Caleb Love having NBA scouts drooling all over his game, Loving what he brought to that North Carolina squad coming off of that Final Four. I don't think he's that far. I don't think he's necessarily exactly the player that we saw last season. I don't know if he's the player that we saw 2 seasons ago, though. You know, what came to my head was if Rodney Terry can get the Russell Westbrook out of Love's game and keep the Dwayne Wade, like Texas would be a contender to win 30 games, I feel, if he ended up on campus with the way that this roster is set up. We feel like Terry's going to run that 3-guard system that worked so well last season with a bevy of talents in the backcourt. I'm coming around to it a little bit more, Mike. I'm still not totally – I don't think he's necessarily that player that we saw last season, like 100%, but he's got some proving to do, not just to wherever team he lands on, but to NBA scouts as well, if he expects to advance his game at the next level, man. So,
yeah, absolutely.
We'll see.
I also think Arizona's really interesting. I think Tommy Lloyd could kind of unlock some of that magic from the previous year. And, you know, playing next to Jaden Bradley, you know, getting Ballo there, who isn't, you know, he's not like going to be calling for, 15 to 20 shots. Keyshawn Johnson's definitely not going to be calling for 15 to 20 shots. That might be more of a front court that he may want to play with. Obviously, Dessou is gonna require some shots next year. Caden Shedrick doesn't need the shots for Texas. So I don't mind both fits, man. I think Gonzaga would be a little bit tougher, man, because it feels like Gonzaga is going to run through the Nembhard EK train. And we saw what Gonzaga's done over the course of time with their big men. We talked about with Kansas and Bill Self and those big men. I don't know that Love would really fit next to – I think he fits really well with Nembhard, right, who doesn't really, want to be a scorer. But EK and still Venters, like these guys are usage-oriented players, right? So I think the fit is probably better with, I would say, Arizona 1, Texas 2, and then Gonzaga 3 if these are the 3 finalists. So, it'll be interesting to see, man.
Nembhard would average 10 assists a game playing alongside Caleb
those
Love,
guys,
man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, like it would be amazing to watch him play. It already is.
Yeah.
To be honest, there's a reason he's ranked so high. On everything that we do, for sure. A couple more players here, Mike. Let's talk about Marquette wing, Olivier, Maxence Prosper, Max staying in the draft. What does that do to Marquette and Shaka Smart?
Well, I mean, I think last year, like, it felt like Marquette was going to be a little bit of fool's gold, right? They were picked, second to last in the Big East. And then they won the Big East. And great job by Shaka, right? We know the guy can win. Got that kind of the first-round monkey off his back. Lost to, Mr. March himself, right? Tom Izzo, kind of a bad draw, honestly, for Marquette. But now you're losing, you're expecting to get your starting 5 back and Joplin as your 6th man. Like, everybody's supposed to come back. Now you lose OMP, who defensively, athletically, like, he was a big part of their team. Joplin's going to give him more like shooting, outside shooting. He's a big body. I mean, he's committed to Texas, when Shaka was here. So I don't know. Like, obviously, you lose this type of player. The NBA scouts are drooling over it. But really, like, when you break it down, like the 3 top players for them were Tyler Kolek, who exploded last year, Cam Jones, who kind of up and down towards the end of the year, and then Oso Ighodaro, who did a fantastic job not getting into with all those bigs in that conference. Like, he had to be on the floor. I feel like Ben Gold is going to develop a little bit more and be able to take some of that pressure off, where maybe Ighodaro could be a little bit more of a force, for inside and take some more chances as you get that freshman developed a little bit more and feel more confident giving him minutes. But, he's bringing back Kolek and Jones. That's probably one of the top backcourts in the country. So, Jay, what are your thoughts on OMP, as we like to say? You know me.
You down with OMP? Yeah. Look, here's the deal. Does it really matter? Marquette's going to lose in the first weekend of the tournament anyway. We all know the deal now. Shaka Smart's been living off of that one Final Four run at VCU since, and he probably won't ever make it back. I'm still scarred from Abilene Christian. I'm sorry. I will never, ever let that go. The one shining moment with his hands on his head. One shining moment. I can't. I'm sorry, man. Like, Shaka's a good guy. I loved it when he grew out the COVID fro. All that stuff was great. But,
he was pain.
It's tough. It's still an open wound for me. I haven't gotten over that yet. And then Chris Beard getting kicked out of campus. It's just ripping at that wound. Even though Texas basketball fans, like, it's not like we have any reason to. What are we disappointed for? Like, I mean, what have we seen in the last however long? You know, especially since Rick Barnes left, that makes us think like we have any right to be disappointed. But here's the deal. Max doesn't turn 21 until July. His game translates to the NBA. 40.5-inch vertical leap at the combine. Like, the dude's a baller. He's probably going to be a first-round pick. But plenty of talent on that Marquette team that, you know, will help them succeed in the regular season again. I give Shaka Smart a hard time, but he's a good coach. They'll probably still be a top 15 team in the preseason polls, I'd imagine, maybe even top 10. Like, I do think that highly of them and their current roster, and Shaka Smart as a regular season coach. You know, they'll be fine at least until March. Okay, anyways, that's enough Shaka.
Let it go. Let it go.
All right, fine. Let it go. Can't hold it back anymore. Okay, all right, I'm good. All right. Last one here, Mike, tonight before we put a bow on it. Arkansas might be close to losing some guys back to the portal. What have you heard?
Yeah, I've seen some chatter on Twitter. And if you're not following Trilly Donovan, like, no one knows who this. He's basically like the lead character from V for Vendetta, where he's just like he's like slicing up news. Man, he has got his finger on the pulse. It's hilarious. If you just his picture is awesome. Literally a portal with Billy Donovan next to it. I don't know who he is, man. Maybe one day we'll have him on the show. Maybe he's watching. That'd be awesome. I know he put out a tweet the other day asking what are some good college basketball podcasts. And I don't know, man, just the mystique. I wanted to be like, yo, join the One and Done show. But, you know, I'm terrified of who he could be. So, no, but he's an awesome ad, man. He's got tons of inside information. And it's been rumored that Arkansas – and this had to be a thing, Jay. Like, we joked about it on the last show.
Yep.
Like, you got all these guards. Like, one or two of these guys aren't going to play. Like, I get it. Like, you lose Black, you lose Smith, you lose Council. You think you're good. But then you add Layden Blocker, 5-star guard, Khalif Battle, Tremont Bark, Keon Minifield, L. Ellis. Like, even Davenport is more of a two-guard, or, you know, if you want to play the three, then one of those guards has to sit. So, I don't know, man. What are your thoughts on this train that Musselman has built here?
When stuff goes wrong for Arkansas, does he like put layers of clothes back on instead of like ripping off the shirt? I feel like he's like got a parka on right now. You're right, though, Mike. This was the plan. You get as many guys into the fold as you can.
Yeah.
And then you let it work itself out. Musselman is not a dummy.
Yeah.
He knew he wasn't going to get all these guys. And if you do, great. Awesome. But he's smart enough to know he wasn't going to keep all these guys around.
He did this last year at the forward position. Like, we were like, wait, you got the Mitchell brothers from Rhode Island. You had Jordan Walsh coming in, Trayvon Brazil. You had the kid from Arizona State who actually looked really good in the tournament game, who probably should have played in that last game. Yeah, I mean, he did the exact same thing last year, and all those guys actually stayed. So, it was only a matter of time for one or two of these guys to these guys want shots, man. Like, come on. Yep.
Yeah, tons of talent, S-tier coach. The Razorbacks are going to be just fine. Like, don't fret, Hog fans. Hog Nation, is that a thing?
Yeah, especially when you're getting Ron Holland. No, I'm just kidding. He's probably going to.
We'll be buying his G League Ignite jersey off of Fanatics.
Oh, look, we got a comment here, man, from someone that's not too far away from us.
There he is.
Dead.
The Baron of Bread, Eric Romoff, in the comments.
He's not Trilly Donovan, I promise.
He is not Trilly Donovan. He's probably closer to Batman than he is Trilly Donovan. But it's good to hear from our guy, Eric, the artist formerly known as Blue, the Baron of Bread, in those comments, who, like I said and always like to say, is never too far away. Mike, West Coast is definitely at least making a case to be the best coast. put a bow on this West Coast themed show tonight.
Yeah, I will say the Pac-12 has really upgraded its talent. It's going to be, last year they got 3 teams in. Wouldn't surprise me if they've got a 4th, maybe even a 5th, depending on. There's going to be some young players though. They're going to need to make an impact, but liking what 4 or 5 of these teams have really done. I'm excited to continue our little series that we're doing. Hopefully we get Eric the Blue back, the Baron of Bread back soon. Man, this is part 1 of 4. Part 2 is coming pretty soon. We haven't hammered out a date yet. I don't think, but that'll be coming soon within the week. And then 3 and 4. So part 2, we're looking at going to Middle America. Talking some Big 10 and Big 12. And then we're going to do a 2-parter because if you look at the college basketball map and really just the map in general of the United States, there are a billion teams. I don't know. Is this right? Left? Whatever. Anyway, East. We're going to do a 2-parter because a ton of your blue bloods are there. You go. Yes, or the one with the numbers and the the look of the meme. We'll do a 2-parter out East on the incoming freshmen, and the next time we see you guys, we'll be doing some Big 10 and some Big 12 action. So I'm looking forward to that.
Are you really gonna make me spend half a show talking Big 10 basketball? Oh my God. I'll do it for you, Mike. I'll do it for you, the viewers. I'll do it for Eric the Blue, the Baron of Bread. This has been one and done, baby. You know it. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Don't forget to smash those like and subscribe buttons. Do your part in the Green Screens Media universe.
We're almost to 500. Almost 6 away.
Hit that subscribe button. Be the person that puts us over the top, or at least be somebody that helps put us over the top. Tell the hoopheads in your life that you enjoyed watching the show, because I think you did. We've been putting out some fire-ass content lately. Thanks to this guy at MC Holland 34 on Twitter, El Capitan himself, the captain of the Green Screens Media ship, Mike Holland. I am your humble conductor of this train. My name is Jay Heinrich. Follow me on Twitter at Dr. William Cannon. Follow our guy Eric the Blue at Fantasy Nav. Follow us as we make our way from the west to the east, talking recruiting, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4-part series. Turn on those notification bells so you see it coming from a mile away. Have a nice day. Let's get this bread, baby.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drrodo.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.